Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back here to Pure Finesse with the very lavishly dressing Malcolm Govius, and he thinks he could have outdressed the one and only
suit on.
Yeah, suit. It really looks like it. Really looks like a suit.
Yeah, the football suit. Nice.
Exactly that. Oh, you said it right. So today we got 4 games left of regular season football, and the NFL playoff picture is looking very more fluent as it has been in the last couple of games. And if you were to tell me, we're going to start with the AFC, and if you were going to tell me that this team is going to be the #1 overall seed going into the playoffs, I think you'd be lying.
I tell you, you'd be right? Because they've been a dynasty for this long. But no one, I don't think anyone would have predicted this, and that's Mac Jones,
Mac 10.
Mac 10, trademarked. Almost Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots as the #1 seed. Honestly, at this point in the season, I think a lot of people thought their rivals, the Buffalo Bills, would be #1, right?
I would say that they're the most disappointing team in football.
Yeah.
New England started 2-4.
Yep.
And they haven't looked back since. They've won every single game since then. And I would say relatively their schedule coming up for the last 4 games is relatively easy because they have to play the Jags, and they have to play. I mean, the Dolphins are kind of surging too. I think
5 in a row.
Yeah. And I mean, if you want to say Buffalo and Fox or a home game against Buffalo is a foregone conclusion for victory. So it's only been foregone conclusions for victories only for the last 20 years.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think their next game against the Colts, that's going to be a great game to watch. That's going to be a really good one. Then obviously against the Bills going to be a good one too. But against the Jags and Dolphins, like you said, the Dolphins are 5 in a row. But I still think that New England's just going to be able to easily handle that team. And the Jets are the Jets. They still are the Jets. Always will be the Jets. Kind of like the Browns. So I think Mac will have no problem with them either.
We were down bad this week in fantasy football, so we had to resort to terrible tactics in starting Zach Wilson to be my quarterback for fantasy this week.
Yikes.
Looking at the stat line for the first half, it was pretty abysmal. I think if I remember correctly, he was 3 of 13 for passing at one point. But I think he finished with 11 fantasy points. So he had 200 yards passing, but just the pass attempts to completions ratio was abysmal. But you already mentioned the Buffalo Bills. They're 7-6 right now, not out of it by any stretch of the word. They are, though, looking at the last place in the wild card position of the 7th overall seed. So much expectations on Buffalo. If they don't make the playoffs, what's happening?
Well, especially with the schedule coming up too, they have I think out of their division as the easiest schedule. So if they don't make the playoffs, it's the biggest disappointment because everyone's saying this team is finally going to take over the AFC East. They're going to be able to beat.
They were talking Super Bowl.
They're talking Super Bowl. They're saying they're the new kings of the AFC East and they're taking over the Pats. It does not look like that at all.
Kind of like how Malcolm thought he was going to outdress me today.
I did. I came in thinking I'll put on this
Buffalo
put on the nice flannel jacket or shirt. Jay comes in. He's the Pats, Mac 10, Bill Belichick, and just taking over. So I think it'll be a big, big disappointment if they don't make it.
Yeah, and you mentioned the schedule. They have to play Carolina, New England again, Atlanta, which, I mean, hey, they're 6-7. They can make the playoffs.
That's true.
And the always tough to play against New York Jets. So, they have to win. I think they have to win at least 3 of the last 4 to make the playoffs.
The Bills do, 100% they would have to. Because even in the wild card, it's going to be a tight race right down to the end. So.
There's so many teams at 7-6 are hovering around there.
Exactly.
So I think it's the best thing the NFL has done in a long time is implement this now, the
last game.
The extra wild card spot because there were only 2 and 1 and 2 got by. So now it's just the 1 seed and now they have 3 wild card games per conference. So it's very, very exciting football and gives another team another opportunity to play for an extra game because I always thought that you have to be 10-6 to make the playoffs.
That's tough.
And there were some teams that missed. Even last year, they almost missed being 10-6 with the extra team.
Yeah.
So, but one of those teams that was 10-6 last year from the AFC North, the Dog Pound of Cleveland, they are now only 1 game out of making the division theirs, being in the AFC North. But if you haven't been up to the news since March of 2020, there's this thing called COVID-19.
Yes.
That's kind of putting a huge derailment on healthy lineups throughout all of sports out there, really.
Yeah.
And we found out today, Tuesday, that only just 8 players tested positive for COVID-19 in the Cleveland Browns organization. So they better be testing every day, and hopefully they can put a squad together for Saturday afternoon against the Raiders because this is a must-have game to win, because those Baltimore Ravens, who lead the division in 8-5, have a hobbled Lamar Jackson and only are going up against a 10-3 Green Bay Packers this week.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Browns in general, these last 4 games are going to be really, really tough for them. The Raiders, obviously, they're not in that top of their division.
They only got blown out of Arrowhead last week.
Yeah, that's true. Casey just destroyed them. I think so. Revenge for last year for beating them. But I think it'll be a good game against the Raiders. Packers are always tough to play against. The Steelers is a big matchup, a big division matchup again, big rivalry. And then same with the Bengals. And the Bengals aren't playing good. They're the other team that's also just 1 game back behind the Ravens. So all these teams in the AFC North, you got to look out for. I think the Browns are going to have one of the toughest times making it, though, just with their schedule.
Right.
Without the bias, too. I'm not sure.
I honestly, to tell you the truth, I think they're winning 3 of the next 4. I think the only game they're losing
is the Packers.
Yeah. And you know what? I say that now, but if they actually had to play this game Saturday with everybody out, they're losing on Sunday.
Yeah, that's true.
Whether you want to admit it or not, because they're a sick team anyway. But we're not having, I would say, at least a fifth of your lineup is just a recipe for disaster. And if the NFL happened, the same thing happened last year. I can't remember who they played, but they missed their entire receiving core and lost.
I remember that game, actually. Yeah.
And it was about this time last year. I think it was week 15 or week 16, and they just got screwed. So as it stands right now, they have 0 tight ends on the roster. They're missing their top 2 wide receivers. They're missing Kareem Hunt, not for COVID-related issues, but we're missing him anyway. They're missing their kick returner. They are, and Baker Mayfield has a torn labrum.
Oh, they're in shambles. That's what they are. This organization.
Put the bias beside it. AFC North, I think, is only that, and the AFC West are the only 2 divisions that are really that everybody still has a chance of making it into the playoffs.
Well, everyone has a chance of being at top of your division in this one.
That too.
Yeah.
But I mean, Kansas City's kind of running away with it in the West. But I would say like all 4 of these teams in both divisions all have a legitimate chance of cracking the playoff spot.
Yeah, they do. And okay, we're gonna get to my Steelers here. The last game wasn't great because they played Minnesota. They went down big at half.
Yeah, I want to get your take on Chase Claypool.
Don't worry. I was just about to get to it. That's what I was going to explain.
Here you go.
That's what I was about to get to. So we're down 24-0. We start coming back. Big Ben proving that he's one of the clutchest QBs of all time, right? Coming in with his big plays. But you got Chase Claypool in the beginning, in the first half, where he was doing some nonsense. He reached out, fumbled the ball, but luckily he was down by his shin. He got a flag for doing this, hitting some guy's face, just pointing for the first down. Did the same thing, not hitting someone, but did the same little celebration when we had how much time left? Under 30 seconds left in the game. And we get a first down. He points. The O-lineman, Trey Turner, comes to get the ball from him, and the ball gets knocked out. Chase Claypool gets mad. The whole team gets mad. You can see him yelling afterwards. And then he says the next day, oh, yeah, my teammate shouldn't have come up to me and bumped the ball out. It's his fault, not my fault. And this is something I heard too. I like this. His mentality really has to change, because when he was explaining it, he was going to say, yeah, I caught the ball, got the first down, did my thing. And then went back to the play, right? The guy who I heard this from said, oh, he has to get that mentality. It's our thing now. In that moment, when you're down by that much and you're coming back with under 30 seconds to go, you have to make our moment, get the ball, go back to the line. You see that all the time in those types of situations. The wide receivers giving up and going back, they're not celebrating. So Claypool's young. He's got to learn. I don't think Juju ruined him, but he's got to learn right now after that awful performance.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I would like to say, because everybody was thinking, like, how good of a rookie season did Chase Claypool have last year, right?
An amazing season last year, and everyone loved him. He was a favorite.
Rookie leader in touchdowns.
Exactly. Not a big deal, right? And this year he's just, I don't know. I think after losing the Browns last year, that really affected them. Anyone losing the Browns would really affect them, right?
So, but we're talking about rookie receivers, right? Jamar Chase has been lining it up for Cincinnati, and they're really a real interesting team, because they can blow you out, but they can also get blown out at the same time. You saw that last week, being down 24-0 to the LA Chargers,
and the week before they blew up the Steelers.
Exactly that, and they still came back against LA.
Yeah,
but still ended up losing. I think this is the only team in this division where they could say like their offense wins them games.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I would say in every other team there, like the Ravens, Browns, and Steelers, they all bank on their defense.
100% is their defense. You look at the Steelers, TJ Watt only has to get 2.5 sacks to get a win, right? So
speaking of sacks, Myles Garrett, franchise record in sacks single season.
Same,
no big deal.
Same with TJ Watt, only broke that last week while missing 2 games. Not a big deal.
Oh, nice.
Deep. next division. We can't talk about our division too long.
Right. Yeah. The AFC South is next. I would say the most underrated team in the AFC that no one really talks about at all.
Yes.
Is the Tennessee Titans at 9-4.
Didn't think
not the Colts. No.
Didn't think you're
they're doing this without the best running back in football, and Derrick Henry.
the king.
And honestly, right now, I just mentioned the Colts. I think they have the best running back in football currently on a roster.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. Jonathan Taylor is just disgusting. Single-handedly just winning them games. Actually not single-handedly. Their defenses are really good too. But Jonathan Taylor just going. When I saw their record here when I was putting this down, they're 7-6. I thought the way they've been playing, I thought for sure they've won 9 games already, 8 games, at least 8, right? So the fact that they're 7-6, this division's not so close, so they don't have to worry about the Texans or the Jags, who are both 2-11. So I don't think they have to worry about that at all.
Yeah,
if
I was the Texans or the Titans and the Colts, I'd be looking forward to playing your division.
Yeah, 100%. And don't they have to play their division here?
Yes, they do.
The Colts have to play the Pats, the Cardinals, the Raiders, and then the Jags, which would be a nice one for them. And the Titans have to play the Steelers, easy loss, 49ers, Dolphins, and then the Texans. So they both play those 2 teams in their last week. So those should be easy wins. We'll see how it goes until then.
So I'm sure those 2 teams are banking on the number 1 overall pick come April.
Yeah, 100%.
But Tennessee, I think if they're locked into a playoff spot or locked into the division, I should say, because I don't think they have to play. No, they don't. No. They've had their season series finished. Mm-hmm. So as long as they keep a 1 or 2 game lead, I think you don't see Derrick Henry until playoff time.
Yeah, and I think they want to keep him out until playoff time just to get. I think they're announcing it now too, just to get teams scared, because I think they're going to know they're going to make the playoffs, and no one wants to deal with Derrick Henry.
No, exactly that. AFC West, you already said, is a pretty close division right now as it stands right now. The lowest seed in the AFC West is the Raiders at 6-7, and they could still claw their way back, because there are only 2 teams that have a wild card spot, really.
Exactly.
And the Chiefs have found their groove. They're now 9-4. Everybody's hopping back on the bandwagon, saying it's Super Bowl rematch. Do you buy in that?
I'm not buying the Super. You know what Super Bowl I'm anticipating? Tampa Bay against New England. I think we already said it, but that's realistically what I'm anticipating, the way Tom Brady and New England's been playing. I don't think the Chiefs are going to get there. I wasn't sold on them. No, I don't think a lot of people were sold on them at the beginning of the season. Were you?
Well, absolutely not. But it's pretty hard to bank on a team with the $500 million quarterback and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
But if you're going to circle a game next week to watch, it's going to be Thursday night, because it is for the division.
Yeah.
Right now between the Chiefs and the Chargers, there's only 1 game separates the 2 teams, and they only play each other prime time Thursday night. So you want to tune into that one, because the Chargers, again, kind of like the Bengals, real hot and cold this year. They can blow out some teams.
Yeah.
And they've been hovering 500, and now they've picked it back up. So do you really is there a possibility from looking at their schedules that they can catch the Chiefs?
I think the Chargers can catch the Chiefs. In this division a lot, they have to play their division in these last 4 weeks, through the last 4 games against their division. The Chargers have to play the Chiefs, which will be the tough one. The Texans, which is almost a guaranteed win. The Broncos in their division, the Raiders in their division. So they have to win these division matchups, and it's always tough playing against your own division because you see them more often. So you're more used to what they're going to do. I think the Chargers are still going to be able to pull it off, and I think that the Chargers are actually going to end up winning this division.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to see Pat Mahomes in the wild card, but they're getting a big boost on Thursday night. Keenan Allen, I know everyone's talking about how bad COVID is right now. He just got off the COVID list. You're going to be seeing him in a uniform on Thursday, and that's helping your boy. And man, fantasy playoffs is now going to be flipped upside down.
Why?
COVID.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Kind of happy I didn't make it at this point. We're just got the consolation match to not finish last in the lemonade stand.
Malcolm's been looking up some nice lemonade recipes. So
yeah, Jay's the one who's dead last right now.
Yeah, speaking of dead last, the division that I think everyone really doesn't like to listen too much often, and we're flipping conferences, and that's the NFC East. Dallas is leading the division at 9-4. Almost blew it to the Washington football team last week.
I wish they did.
For what it's worth. And Washington 6-7, I believe they're in a wild last spot.
Yeah.
Without Chase Young, I think they're missing Jonathan Allen this week now because of COVID.
No JD McKissick either.
So it's just they're in shambles, but they're still in a playoff spot. So very well coached. I love Ron Rivera.
Yeah.
But it's the Cowboys division to lose, right?
Oh, at this point, right? Exactly. It has to be. The Eagles are still there, right? Since Washington is holding on to that last wildcard spot, the Eagles hold the same record at 6-7. They're starting to pick it up with Jalen Hurts too. So we'll see what happens. I don't like the fact that this wildcard team could be below 500. You never like to see that, but at the same time, we just like to see more wildcard games coming up. But these games, these I mean, these schedules are going to be tough for the football team. They're playing the Eagles, Cowboys, Eagles, and Giants. So they're playing only in their division. And with the Cowboys, they're playing the Giants, Washington again, and the Cardinals and the Eagles. So 3 of their 4 games in the division. The Giants, the Eagles, they also play all of their division too, playing Washington, the Giants, Washington, and Cowboys. So we'll see what happens. It's gonna be a good one to watch. See what unfolds.
I know. I'm surprised none of these games are prime time because everyone just loves putting NFC East games in prime time.
I'm saying I would like to see another Cowboys Washington game, maybe, or maybe a Washington Eagles game. See who wins that last walk.
Right. I mean, not like we're in a Monday Night Football Browns Steelers in a couple of weeks.
It's
not a big deal at all.
Easy win that week.
But I mean, are you buying how? I mean, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, everyone was talking about how the Cowboys are like the best team in the NFC. They have a real shot at the Super Bowl. They've been humbled pretty quick.
Did you not see Stephen A. Smith saying that they're the best team in football at one point this season?
Yeah, of all people to say it.
Of all people to say it, Stephen A. Smith said they're the best team in football. I was never sold that they're the best team. I realized that they're picking it up, but you got to be consistent to be.
No, Steven A-list is fluent. It's fluent. It changes every week. It's fluent. That's his mantra for it at all times.
I hate it.
NFC North. Now the number 1 overall seed in the NFC, we can now say belongs to the Green Bay Packers after the Cardinals lost Monday night.
Yeah.
They are a pretty tough schedule to say the least. They have to play Baltimore and Cleveland back-to-back weeks. A surging Vikings team after beating your Steelers, but they got blessed with the Lions. But I think they can clinch with a win tomorrow, this week. They can clinch their division for how lackluster I would say this is.
Yeah.
Vikings still in the mix, 6 and 7 to catch a wild card because, like we said, there's an under 500 team right now currently holding a wild card position.
Yeah.
Kean Davis's favorite team, the Chicago Bears, fire Nagy. He's been preaching that for how long?
Too long.
Yeah. And the Detroit Lions at 1-11-1. So Malcolm, I mean, there really is not much to talk about here other than, do you think Green Bay's holding on to the 1 seed?
100%. I think they're going to do. The Vikings, look at their matchups. It's not going to be easy. They play the Bears in their division, so always a tough one. The Rams, the Packers, and the Bears again. So they're going to have to win out, I think, to win this division and rely on some luck from the Packers losing, but I don't see that happening.
So I'm going to rephrase my one last question because I don't think he grasped that. Is that, do you think Green Bay's going to be the number 1 overall seed in the NFC?
Oh, in the NFC. I don't think so. I think the Bucs are going to have.
I was about to towards MMO.
Yeah, thank you. I think the Bucs are going to. Tom Brady's still Tom Brady. He's the best. He's playing in his career, in his 20+ year career. He's 44 years old, and it's his best season ever right now, or one of the best.
Should be MVP.
Yeah, 100% right now. He's MVP favorite. And we're going to talk about his division right now, no?
I think so. So NFC South, I mean, still, again, 3 teams all vying for a playoff spot. Again, Bucs pretty much have the division wrapped up, but Atlanta.
Out of nowhere. Weren't they last at some point this season?
Yeah, they were stinking it up pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, the Saints, they're right there with Atlanta, and the Panthers yet still not out. 5-8, only a game back of the football team for the final wild card spot. It's hot. Yeah, NFC South.
I know. Yeah, they're all competing now. They're all want a playoff spot. Obviously, with the injuries and COVID, some people are going to be affected. Like Panthers losing McCaffrey 2 weeks ago.
Okay, like they should,
again.
I mean, I think they pretty much have like their whole playbook. I think is made to not have McCaffrey in it. Just
yeah, because I don't.
How many games has he played in 3 seasons? I think 6.
I think that who's their coach again?
Matt Rule.
He's awful at managing his injuries. Especially with McCaffrey, you can see with this guy has been, like you said, 6 games. He's the new Barkley, and you hate to see it because he had this historic season, breaking records, 1,000 yards. So I just hate to see that. But the Saints, they're still in it. The Falcons, without Calvin Ridley still, but they still got some nice weapons. I like Kyle Pitts, and I like Russell Gage finally picking it up.
You want to talk about weapons? You want to talk about probably the best fantasy pickup off the waiver wire, because I'm sure everybody picked this guy off the waiver wire. That's Cordero Patterson.
Yeah, and
unbelievable.
Just freaking Swiss Army knife, right? Can do everything. So I hope the Falcons end up making it because I want to see this team in it, but it'll be tough.
Yeah, I'm not buying the Saints just because of who's the quarterback, and that's Taysom Hill. Yeah. I mean, they got blessed this week playing the Jets.
Yeah,
and it was a what do you want to call it? Field goal. Like it was all field goals. I think there was maybe 1 touchdown.
That's all.
But I could buy into the Falcons. They got a pretty good defense. AJ Terrell's playing very good football. The quarterback from Clemson. Go Tigers. Yeah, not those
wrong
Tigers.
One.
Yeah, but the Bucs pretty much have this wrapped up, and like me and Malcolm both said, I think we see them making it.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, being the number 1 overall seed in the NFC.
Yeah,
but the team that was previously the number 1 seed, that was the Arizona Cardinals. had a pretty tough loss last night against the Rams.
Yeah, I was disappointed to see. We had money on the Cardinals, didn't go our way. Got Cooper Kupp scoring a touchdown though, that hit, but Cardinals didn't look great from the start. Really, they went down and they just couldn't get their feet going. They kind of made a push near the end, but it was all for little or nothing at all. So I think the Rams proved though after last night that they're still a Super Bowl contender, don't you think?
Absolutely, they are. I mean, for all the moves that they made, getting Von Miller and Odell Beckham Jr., that they are kind of forcing the hand into people believing that they're going to be making the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And they just proved how good they are depth-wise, and how I would say how good of a coach Sean McVay is, having to beat the #1 overall seed in the NFC, the best team in the NFL record-wise previous to today, without having arguably the best cornerback in football, and their starting tight end, and their starting running back.
Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't even know Sony Michel was playing. Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh my gosh, they did that all. I was really impressed with, like you were saying, that Jalen Ramsey wasn't playing and D-Hop was still getting locked up. I remember seeing one play where the corner on him, I can't remember his name.
Darius Williams.
Or I think it might have been Long Jr., and he was covering him, and he was just on him, white on rice. You cannot. He was just going to stop him no matter what, right from the snap. So I just love to see that from the Rams defense too.
Right. So I mean, defense wins championships, and they're all again. Since with that loss, now they're only one game back of making the division.
The division, right? Exactly, because the Cardinals are 10-3.
Yeah, now they flipped all the way down to the 3 seed in how the division and how that sorts itself out. But there's 3 teams in the NFC West that have again viable options of making the playoffs.
Or they're all in a playoff spot right now.
Yeah, 2 of the 3 are in a wild card spot, and that's the Rams and the 49ers. I think they have to play each other at least one time, and that's going to be the season finale for both teams.
Yeah.
It's going to be a barn burner. But I mean, the team that usually owns this division for the better part of a decade, the Seattle Seahawks, they're finally going to be, I mean, they're not out of a playoff spot, but I think it's looking like that way.
You got to add them in there just because they're 5-8. So they're only a game back of that last wildcard spot, but it doesn't look like the way they've been playing. It doesn't look like they're going to make it. They did have, who did they play last week?
Minnesota? No,
Minnesota. I can't remember. I remember Lockett going off. Lockett had a good game.
Had some serious balls.
Yeah, had like over 100 yards, had a touchdown or whatnot. They had a good game, but I don't see them being consistent right now, especially with their O-line still giving up sacks to Russell Wilson. You see it. That was the main problem going into the offseason last year, was like, Russell Wilson's, get me an O-line, like protect me so I can throw the ball and make plays. And look what happened. Look what happens. You're getting sacked, you last in the division. So management's got to wake up. And you missed
6 weeks with a broken finger.
And a broken finger, exactly.
They played the Texans last week, so it's pretty hard to not play well against them.
Okay, that's just a write-off.
But I mean, that just sees how, I would say, how important Russell Wilson is to this team, and he's yet to win MVP.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. He never won an MVP.
And look where they are without Russell Wilson in the lineup. Under 500
right in the last.
So I mean, I think they have the longest streak of having a winning season. I think it was 11, if I want to be correct.
Jeez.
And that's in serious jeopardy this year because they essentially need to win out.
Oh, they definitely have to win out, and I don't see that happening. But they have to play the Rams, the Bears, the Lions, and the Cardinals. The one against the Lions, the other 3 are toss-ups. Even the Bears could beat them.
Well, if these games are in Seattle, it's pretty hard to beat this team in Washington.
That's true.
So as it stands right now, we have our projected wild card matchups. #1 overall seed, as we've said already, is the New England Patriots in the AFC. The number 7 seed would be the Bills. They would play the Tennessee Titans, which would be a 2 seed. I think you like this matchup with your Buffalo.
I think you would too, because the Titans, maybe Derrick Henry's back, but you're not even confident he's back yet. So of the other teams up there, I would take the Titans too.
Yeah, because if you look at the 3 seed, that's the Kansas City Chiefs, and they would be going up against the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, I think this bodes well for the Colts because you're not a primarily passing team.
Yeah.
If you want to go with that, because you only have the best running back currently in the NFL right now, and that's Jonathan Taylor. But I would say, like, talking about Kansas City, a more underrated trade acquisition they made was picking up your boy Melvin Ingram from the Steelers.
Oh, 100%. Melvin Ingram's, he was making a little bit of a difference early on for us, and then he was disgruntled, I guess, for whatever reason. Sent him away, and he's playing good for Kansas City, so it's making a difference.
Him and Chris Jones have been pretty serious tandem out there in Missouri, so it should be a blowout. I mean, from everyone's perspective. But the next one is the number 4 seed Baltimore Ravens up against the LA Chargers at 5. I don't see the Ravens lasting very long in the division as the division leaders.
Oh, as the division, yeah, I don't think they're going to be at that spot for much longer. Obviously believing in my team, you believing in your team.
Well, I also believe in how much injuries this team has.
Oh, that's true too. Lamar, is he going to play this week?
Not only that, but Marlon Humphrey's out for the season now.
Yeah.
Calais Campbell got hurt last week. It's just the injury report just goes on and on. You want to talk about COVID, you want to talk about injuries.
Yeah.
It's been a serious problem for the Baltimore Ravens. And judging from how well they've already played this season and being with how many people are already out for the seasons, pretty good on their part. And they should probably they're probably going to be in the playoffs. It just depends on where.
Yeah.
And what seed that is going to be in.
The NFC here, I think, so obviously we already said Green Bay is that number 1 seed, so they're getting that bye for now. This game I like because it's a repeat from last year. Washington versus Tampa Bay in the division matchup. Number 2, obviously, being Tampa Bay. But me and Jay thinking they're going to get into that number 1 spot at some point. So we're predicting a Green Bay Washington matchup. But as of right now, it's Tampa Bay Washington. Be a great rematch. Heineke with his breakout game last year against Tom Brady. So we'll see what happens there. You want to chime in there?
I would say that Washington gave Tampa Bay the best run for their money last year.
Oh, 100%.
And it was Washington.
Yeah, it was Washington. No one expected that. Chase Young obviously was a big difference in that game.
He was a beast.
And they don't have him this year. So that may be a huge factor if the game's any
that's
closer,
if they make the playoffs.
That's if
there's only about 4 other teams that are at 6 and 7.
Exactly. So they got to hold on to that spot too. The next one would be number 3, Arizona Cardinals. Going up against the number 6, quietly San Francisco 49ers, since they're 3rd in the division, like we mentioned. They're in that playoff spot still, and Jimmy G is back. Do you think that Trey Lance will ever take over the ropes again this season?
This season, no.
No?
I don't see that happening. I know next season, I think that's a foregone conclusion that they want to trade Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you want to talk about San Francisco. I mean, what got them to the Super Bowl 2 years ago?
Running.
That
Raheem Mostert
and their defense. And their defense is back. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Armstead, Jason Verrett making another career renaissance in San Francisco. The defense is back. Kyle Shanahan's a pretty darn good coach.
Yeah,
and
he's okay.
I think they're going to stay in the playoffs, even though they have to go through their division.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think football fans will be disappointed with the San Francisco Arizona matchup in the playoffs.
I don't think so either.
But I mean, how huge is it? Again, Arizona's not in the 1 seed because if they make it out, they have to go into Lambeau and play Green Bay.
Oh, eventually. That would be just another great matchup to see.
Rather than not at home in the sunny confines in Arizona.
So yeah, I think if anyone's going to Lambeau, you're gonna have a real tough time, especially in the winter. So,
but not Tom Brady.
Not Tom Brady.
But I mean, he's only played 20 years in Foxborough.
He's only just a goat. Then we have the last game, the number 4 Dallas Cowboys. Can't believe I hate seeing the Cowboys in the playoff spot, and the LA Rams at the number 5 spot. This one, I think it's going to be closer if it stays the same. I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think, but I still see the Rams winning it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the Dallas Cowboys absolutely get railed by Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay, because nothing puts more joy on my face than to see a Cowboys fans cry and whine about how they didn't win a playoff game after every single year.
Yeah.
And that's been the knock on them for about as long as you've been around, that they can't win the playoffs.
20 plus years. So
it's only been 20. Exactly. It's only been 20 years, right? Yeah. Only 30 since your last Super Bowl appearance. But you're America's team, right?
America's team. That's crazy. You can still be called America's team. And how is New England not America's team? They should be really America's team right now.
That's just us, right?
It's just us. We're just Canadians looking from the outside.
So we'll be back next week here to do more previews of what's going to be looking like in the playoffs, because I can't wait to see playoff football because it's only the best time of the year. 100%. Only we're not crying and whining about how COVID's ruining our lives.
Yeah, COVID's just monstrous right now. I can't be asked. I think school might be shut down again. Looking like Brock might be shut down in the winter semester. So pray for
Roll Hounds. So until then, it's Jacob
and Cole.